Hello. Hi guys. Hi Cindy. Hi Joyce. As usual, I'm just going to wait for the whole crew to come on in if anybody's a little bit late. Hi Lisa, Donna. Hopefully this is going to be a really good one, guys. Lots of people wanting help with the blowing technique. And yeah, it'd be nice to show you guys up close, like how I do it. Yeah, some of the easier ways. Hi, Mum. Biggest fan, Mum. Hi, Cindy. Deanna. I'm just gonna let some more people join up before we get started. Hi, Cheryl. Geez, you guys are really punctual, right on time. Hello, everybody. Hi, Deborah. Lots of people from the US coming in. Hi, Moona. Saw you were like an hour earlier there, but I thought you'd be back. Queensland is 1 hour difference to the rest of the country, or something like that. I don't know. Hi, Angie. Hi, guys. So today I just wanted to do a couple of demonstrations on the blowing of the single bloom. We might do a couple of different types of blows. Maybe the one where that goes in a line. So instead of swiping, doing our paint in a line and blowing it out gives a little bit different effect to the single blow on the bloom. Hi guys. Hi Michelle. Hi Elaine. Janine. Queenie. Love that name. Serena. Thanks again, guys. Nice to have you back joining me once again for the BloomLive. This one is episode 7, The Art of the Blow. I've had all my giggles out of the way and all the jokes. So if you want to bust some jokes out, let's do it now and get it all out of the way so we can be serious adults. Art of the blow. Never in a million years did I think I'd be sitting here showing people how to blow. Did not ever cross my mind when I was younger. Yeah, it's crazy stuff. In all seriousness though, it's a very important part. So probably didn't touch as much on it in the course as I probably should have. Because yeah, I just didn't realize it was such a big deal. I just thought everybody would just poof, blow and the big blooms would come out. So it looks like we need a little bit more training on that. So that's what today's session is for. Okay, so just very firstly, a lot of confusion. Yeah, everybody's laughing now. A little bit of confusion over the thinning mix. So it's the watery mix that I use to thin down my paints when they're too thick. And you might even see me use mine today, because today I'm only going to be using black and white paint, purely for the reason that it's just a lot easier to see where the paint's going without too many colors confusing it. So sorry if the color palette's a little bit boring, but just want to get those points across thoroughly about, you know, where that paint is going when you blow on it. And so the black and white is going to be a really good, simple way to just show you all of that. Yeah, so you'll probably see me using this mix today because I've mixed up some black paint to use in pouring medium. But, you know, as we've discussed in other lives, they tend to thicken up really quickly. So, yeah, a little bit of confusion on the ratio of the thinning mix. So mine, I just use the Joe Sonia Gloss Varnish. This big baby here, just busted out a new bottle. Geez, I go through that stuff. And just tap water, filtered water, doesn't really matter. Don't think there's anything, you know, much better about filtered water than normal water, but if you find it makes a difference, go ahead. So the confusion is it more Joe Sonia Gloss or more water? The answer to that is it is more Joe Sonia Gloss. you'll be really surprised how thin this gloss becomes when you add little bits of water to it. So this is my thinning mix. I rely on it quite heavily these days to thin out my paint mixes. Straight water is okay, but as I've mentioned a couple of times before, it's really easy to add too much when you're tipping it from the pot. So basically I would do 3 parts Joe Sonia gloss, and then I'm going to thin that down with just 1 part water. And that's really all we need, guys, because the water has such a full-on thinning effect on the varnish that we really don't need to put any more than that in, because look at that now, it's not even, it's very drippy and watery. And yeah, so instead of adding straight Joe Sonia gloss varnish or your varnish of choice to thin out the paints, much better to have it mixed with the water. And yeah, just find that that's been much better for me. So I've got mine there ready to go. I'll let you know if I need to thin my black out. I'll show you how I do that, but it's looking pretty good at the moment. I'm going to start off with showing you a close-up of how I like to blow the initial circle out when you first put your puddles on. You can blow out individual petals, you know, that works, but you're just risking doing it that way. You're kind of risking, you know, the paint on the side that you haven't blown on yet, yeah, it starts to go a bit funky and creep a little bit back in and go a bit weird. So it's kind of better to get that initial blast first. Then you have a lot of options from there, as we've spoken about earlier as well. You can then, if you get lots of cells on the outside of that initial circle blow, you can catch those cells with your breath and actually stretch them cells out even further. Another really cool thing that can happen is you're left with a little bit more of cell activator in front of that colored paint, and if you can catch that with your breath, you're looking at the double petal bloom situation. So you just want to catch that cell activator on the edges and blow it out. If you've hopefully got enough color left on the edge, you'll start to get to know where that's possible and where it's not going to have any effect. So it's just going to blow out into a big white pillowy kind of boring part. So we'll take a look at that now, and then we'll swing straight into the questions, because yeah, I've been getting stuck stealing the limelight and painting and displaying and demoing and forgetting to take as many questions as I would like. I do come in and answer them later. So just if you could try to keep the questions to do with the blowing, because when I'm directing people to this video, obviously if they're having trouble with the blowing part, you know, I want to direct them to this video. So we don't want to clog it up with the questions that are off subject. But feel free to ask anything, and I will pop back in when the video is done, and I will answer everybody before I go to bed, promise. Okay, so yeah, while I'm doing this, let us know where you're from. It's great for us to get a good idea where everybody is joining from. So yeah, swing us a comment and let me know if that looks okay. I think that should be good. I've got a couple of shadows happening, guys. Sorry, but I've got, you know, lights and everything. I've got my new little phone thingy here, so I could bring you down a little bit closer than I normally do. Who's laughing yet? Me? Holy dooly. Okay. All right. Now, my time to blow. My time has come. I'm going to put some gloves on because I normally wreck a fresh manicure in front of you guys every couple of weeks, and I'm done with that. So I'm going to pop the little glovies on. And these nails are going to be saved. They'll be at least good for till I paint tomorrow, so that's a bonus. Okay, Mum, are you ready to watch me blow? Right. So let's just do a pretty regular sized puddle. I'm not going to take it out as far as I probably would if I was going to turn this into an actual painting, because I'm probably going to do this over and over a couple of times and actually show you guys exactly the pressure and the amount of air that needs to hit that circle. And the way I move my head back a little bit as I start to blow a bit harder, it tends to just have this effect where it allows the cell activator to surf across the color underneath. So let's just put that into action and see what I'm talking about. So yeah, once again, sorry for the boring color, but I just really think it's important to be able to see. And the other thing too is you don't even have to put the cell activator on top. If you want to check if your blow is on point, and you know, sometimes that can be hampered by the fact that you're just looking for cells all the time, you know. Oh, was that a good blow? Did I get the good cells? It's not about that. You can accidentally get good cells with a bad blow, and we don't really want that. We want good cells every single time because we want the blow to be on point every single time. So once you get the blow down pat, you know, if you're having other problems, it's obviously due to something else that's not your blow. So yeah, you don't even have to put the cell activator on top. You can pretty much blow this puddle and try to get the pressure on top of the black and push the black out in the best even circle that you can. So when you start to blow, you're going to see the paint obviously move from the air. Now, if you see it moving too much on one side, obviously you would tilt your mouth or your head back to get the air going back to the other side that doesn't have it there yet. So let's just have a little demo of that, and then I'll show you a couple of interesting things about your cell activator as well that can affect the blow, or the blow can affect how that cell activator works. So a really good trick too is when you've poured your puddle, your colors, your color puddles on, and you pop your CA on top of that, you'll see some feathering around the edge of the cell activator. Now, what that means is, hey baby, I am gonna cell up deliciously. That's a really good sign that your cell activator is going to work. If you've got a hard line between your cell activator and your colors, you're probably not gonna get that many cells, because you can see that they're not really reacting together yet. So seeing that feathery halo, I hear some people call it, is a really good indication that your cell activator is going to work. If you see a really wide halo happen and it starts to bleed into the solid looking part of your cell activator, then your cell activator is probably too thin. It means it's sinking, and the last color puddle that you put on before the cell activator is actually bleeding way too much into it, and the cell activator is making its way down to the bottom. So to save a situation like that, you want to blow very, very quickly. You want to get it on. If you see that halo start and it's looking like a nasty one, get into that blow straight away, and you could probably save it. If you delay and you put your pot down really slowly and you come back and you start looking and thinking, too late. Your cell activator is going to sink, and you either need to thicken it up for next time or blow quicker when you see that halo coming in. Okay, so let's see if I can... Okay, so I can see my halo starting there. You see the black? It's bleeding a little bit into the white, but the white's not really sinking too much. It's keeping that same sized white in the middle there. So I'm just going to demo and then explain what I've done when I'm finished, okay? So I'm going to start down low. And as I move my head back, I'm going to blow harder because obviously I'm further away from the canvas. It's going to blow that out even further. If I stay in the one position and just keep blowing, I'm not going to get this area out here. I'm going to just blow straight down, going to end up with a very small puddle. There might be cells in there, but a lot of the paint, the pillow and the colors are going to swallow up those cells, and you really want to get them out and over the top in the surface and cover the surface area as much as you possibly can. So I'll just do that again, and I'll quickly talk you through how I think about it just before I'm going to do it. So it's a little bit hard talking and trying to do this at the same time. You've kind of got to have a bit of a big breath in and really concentrate and focus on where you're going to disperse that air when it comes back out of your lungs. So I would normally take a very deep breath, get as much air in there as possible so that I'm not going to run out of air before my bloom is out into that circle. Where are you? Here you are. Yeah, so it's all about control, really. So I'm going to put this on. I'm going to start down very low, and I'm going to start the blowing quite slowly. And I don't want to use too much of the air that's in my lungs. I just want to use that first little bit to start to disperse that out. And when I see that that circle is going, the cell activator is going across the top where I want it to, then I can move my head back and blow much harder, and it's going to give it that surfing thing where it just blows out into the circle, hopefully, for everybody. All right, so let's try it again. So watch carefully, guys. When I first start, I'm going quite easy till I see that what's happening, what I want to happen is happening, and then I'm moving my head back and giving it a big blast. Now, if I get lopsided and I see one side working more than the other, I'm just going to tilt my head back the other way. I might even move it around a little bit like you see us do with the hairdryer to get all sides happening. See how it's really that second huge blast that pushes it all out and creates the cells. So look, it's not spectacular, but you're getting the idea there. Now, a bit disappointed with those cells because I don't really have any around the outside to blow out there, but let me just, there you go. I'll add another little color in so that I can get some cells to work with here. The black's just not coming to the party on its own. Don't really have, I've only got the gold here, so we'll do gold, black and white, so that's still keeping it quite simple. But the addition of the gold piggy, going to use the harvest gold there. That's pretty much the only thing I've got mixed up, ready to go. Wanted to stick to the black and white, but had a funny feeling this might happen. You probably do, you get many more cells when you have more colors, but it's just easier to see the cells when they're black and white, I think. So I'll put a little dollop of that harvest gold there. Bit of black on top. Hopefully we can get a little bit more to work with so I can show you blowing the petals out. I might have to do this a couple of times before we get it right. There we go. That's better. Now, so as usual, just waiting for them all to come back in. And also, you can see this little bit here. Can you see that? Well, I might move it over here a bit. Okay, so see this bit here? That's cell activator sitting there. It wants to be blown. You can just see it. It hasn't developed in this corner here. The only problem I foresee with that is there any coloured paint under that white bit? Not much, but let's have a look over here. There might still be some cell activator hiding here. I didn't really get the white strip that I wanted to show you how to do the double bloom, but we'll get there before the video's out. You can stretch these little cells out here. No, you can't. Just thought you could. Let's try this side. I'm probably working a little bit too slowly for this to all happen, but so yeah, that didn't work. All right, we're going to go again. Okay, so I'll just use this as an example here. So over here, we've got the lacing on top of the black. I wouldn't do anything with that. Like if you've got your colored puddle out here and there's no cell activator on the actual border, I wouldn't blow that out because it's just going to turn to nothing. You're better off with that situation. You're better off going like this and pulling it back because at least you'll end up with some thin lacing there. See that? And see the part I blew out? So it's just a matter of practicing which parts you should blow out after the center blow and which parts you should leave alone. We did do a few demos in the last live where I showed, or the one before, I can't remember, where I showed the difference between blowing out the circle and spinning or tilting straight away, or blowing out the circle and then blowing out the petals. It's just really a matter of practice and starting to get to know the parts that are going to react well to that. Or if you come out with a really beautiful bloom that's like full of cells, you're better off probably just spinning it or tilting it, because you've already got those pockets of cells there that are going to stretch out really nicely when they hit the side. I'll just show you what I mean there by that. So if I get those cells to grab on just there, and then I bring them back. So I've got the paint breakage happening now because I took too long to do that, but you can see what I mean. You can pull them onto the edge and stretch them back out so you don't lose them. Same with the little ones like this. They can just hook onto the edge and then bring it back. And then look at all that paint breakage because it's all starting to dry too quickly. Okay, so I'll do those over again a few times so that you don't have to hit rewind all the time. You can just keep watching through. And I will see if we've got any questions yet. Yeah, I'm ready. Let's do it. Yep. Okay, thanks Angie for the question. The question is, how much cell activator should be used? Look, there's no real rule to how much cell activator should be used. I certainly don't really go by any type of measurements at all, but I guess if you're working with the sticks, pretty much just on a canvas this size and a bloom this size, I pretty much just get I normally mix up about half a pot of cell activator into one of these baby cups. So that's 35 ml because these are 70 ml. So with the half a cup, I basically just get one scoop out on the stick and I put the whole lot on. So I'd say like, I can't even use coins because everybody's coins are a different size. If you're in Australia, I would say like a 10-cent piece. If anybody knows the equivalent to that in whatever country you're from, then yeah, drop it in the comments. How big is a 10-cent piece? Let's have a look. Let's say it's about... So I would go for something about that round. But it really depends on how much paint you've got on there for your bloom. So obviously that's going to change and go up and down quite drastically depending on the size of your painting. I would probably say half the size of your coloured puddle that's underneath it. That would be a pretty easy way to understand it. And obviously, yeah, so if you're increasing the amount of your colours, doing a big Lisa Marvin style monster, you would definitely be upping the ratio of the CA. But yeah, I reckon that just off the top of my head, it would probably be about half the coloured puddle. Yeah. Another one? Do we have another question? Have I lost you? Okay. Okay, the question is, would it help to use a straw? Sorry if I'm not repeating back everybody's name that's asking the questions, but it is a little bit sometimes hard to hear. But is it better to use a straw? Look, no, don't like straws. I feel like there's way too... We're looking for the opposite of what a straw does. So basically with a straw, I don't even have one here because if I'm honest, I probably did. I do. Yeah. I'm not going to do it though. I do have a little straw here. But using something like this with a really skinny hole on the end, it's probably the dead set opposite of what we are trying to achieve. So there's no point in putting your lung full of air through here when it's going to come out the end in a tiny little skinny, drizzling, like tiny skinny airflow, when actually what we're trying to do is open our mouths a little bit further and get that airflow much wider, but still have the pressure there. So I know it's hard for some of you that don't, oh look, I even have members in the course that have lung problems, and that's why we brought in the hairdryer and the mini blowers and all that sort of thing to help people that have that kind of problem. Now some of those people can actually, they can't blow straight onto the balloon, but they can use a straw, but it's not really helping because it's not being dispersed out wide at the end here. It's a really skinny little, if you like tiny little spidery lines with the cells in there that come out like an octopus, then this could work. But the other problem is when you're blowing the CA through the colors so skinny, it's probably going to envelope them from the sides. And what I mean by that is you've got too much pillow to have a tiny bit of air like this going through it. It's probably just going to swallow up that little line of cells anyway, and you'll end up with like a, you know, painting like a spider. So yeah, this is kind of the opposite of what we're looking for. We're looking for a big, wide, and this is why the Yeeho, that's why the Yeeho I think is so popular, because it has the big, wide mouth on the end of it that really does blow that air out into the nice big circle. I still haven't been able to get mine to work because my connection is not liking the Australian PowerPoint, but I can show you what it looks like. It's very pretty. So this thing here, so this is the Yeeho. Isn't it gorgeous? It's rose gold. It's very pretty. Totally has a place in my studio, but I wouldn't even use this little thing here. What this thing here would be good for is, you know, like a blowout, like so when we do the lines of the paint, it's probably a really cool contraption to catch just the CA and blow it out like that into the lines. This probably wouldn't be the best idea to blow out a strip of paint, because it's probably going to catch a lot of the color on this side and blow it across the CA, and then it's just going to be a big fat mess. So yeah, don't throw this little baby out. But if you do get one, this is straight onto the bloom like that. Lisa did a live using it and showing how to use it. I'm hoping to show you guys, you know, how I use it one of these days when I get my Aussie PowerPoint adapter. So yeah, no straws for me. I've seen lots of modified straws where there's things on the end of it. You know, feel free to turn this into something that's gonna work, but definitely not from the skinny end. Nope, going in the trash. Bye. Next. Okay. All right, the question is, you want to see the side view so you can see what my lips are doing. This is getting more awkward by the second. Okay, I'm going to bring you down here. Let's see. Don't mind this. Gosh, if I hang up on you, definitely. It's definitely a possibility. Hello. Okay, that's too close. That's just scary. All right, let's try to set this up. Do not look at the mess in the background. Tried to keep that from view, but anyway. Okay. Does that work? Is that good? Okay. Right, let's do this from the side. And I probably will show you what I mean by practicing with just paint and no CA, especially if you're having really, really big dramas with it. You don't have to even do puddles this big. You can do a puddle half this big, and just grab a sheet of cardboard or you know, a big flat surface of whatever, and just do your puddles. Do 10 puddles of a small white puddle. Put a dab of colour into the middle of it and just practice getting that colour all the way to the edge of your white. And once you have that down pat, and you can get the black to cover that whole puddle of white, keeping in mind it's not this big, it's only half the size, you know, then you're really on your way to being able to make that cell activator do the same thing when you move to the next step. So, okay, here goes. Should have put the gold in because it's making nice cells, but right. Big breath in. Sorry. Sorry, that didn't work. Let's try again. Okay, so one thing I've noticed when I am doing this is I am definitely tilting my head slightly out from the center in well, not even in a circle, but just sort of backwards and forwards and side to side. Like, it's so hard to try to explain in words. All I can think to do is just keep doing it over and over, and just so that you know, can get what I'm saying. Let's just do another one straight on top of that. Yeah, so I think from what I've seen with, you know, some training that I've been doing with certain people is when I'm watching them blow, I'll show you what I see them doing. And it just goes a bit like this. Okay, so, you know, you maybe getting that tiny initial circle, but by the time it all goes back in, you're left with something that's like, you know, not very big to work with. You're never going to be able to tilt that corner to corner to corner to corner and be left with really anything decent. You can't be blowing. And the other thing too is in there, you know, that just got stuck straight down onto the bottom of the canvas there because I just blew straight down. I didn't have any plan in mind about where I wanted that paint to go. And that's a massive thing. You've got to think to yourself, what is the purpose of me blowing on the paint? Like, where do I want this paint to go? If you keep going over and over and over with the attempting to do the circle, and you're just not having any luck. And look, you know what? It may not be your blowing technique. It could be your pillow. It could be your ingredients a little bit thicker, or you know, you might just need to adjust your consistencies for that blow to work. You might have the perfect blow, but you're being let down by one or some of your products. So just keep that in mind, that it is a really good idea. And I'm just going to show you now how to practice with just the colour. Like, I would put just a small puddle, one puddle of colour, and now I want to see, even though there's no way I'm probably going to be able to get it all the way out to this edge here, I just want to try to practice getting that puddle to get as big as big a circle across the surface as possible without touching the bottom. Starting to realise how tricky this whole thing sounds, but look, once you get it down pat and you know what you're doing, you never forget it. You'll have it forever. So see how I'm just trying to replicate the shape of the pillow that's underneath it. So I still have times when the blow is not great. It's, you know, and I know instantly when I do it if I've done it wrong. And there is certain ways to save a bad blow, but generally, yeah, if you're really super unhappy with it, you can definitely not waste that paint. Now, you wouldn't go and put as much on top of that because you're going to end up with way too much going on underneath to tilt off and have it drying right. But yeah, so say the failed blow underneath, I'm just going to put a small puddle on top so I don't have to waste my paint. Now I wouldn't keep doing this over and over and over and over and over, like 10 times. Probably end up with a hot mess there, but you can definitely go for the second, try to fix it, you know? Second, yep. Oh, you guys want me to put my lips towards the camera as if I'm going to blow the bloom onto the camera. Oh, this is getting really sideways now. Okay. I don't know if I can stop laughing long enough to do that. Guys, my mum's watching. No. Okay, look, I don't... Are you really going to make me do this? Okay, right. I'm just trying to think, like, how I might, I don't even know how I might, I can't deal with this. Hi, Mum. Okay, look, let me have a practice. Look, I'll tell you why it's not going to work doing that, because, look, what's happening is you guys there in the camera aren't going to have the resistance of the... I can see all the laughing faces come through. Thank God you guys are just like me, or this would be really bad. I would have to just be pretending that it's cut out and go away, run away. No, look, the reason why that's not going to work is I'm using that pillow paint and the paint that's on top of it as a resistant against the blow. So the reason why it won't work for me to go like that is you can't really... Shut up, Billy. Holy shit. Okay. This is going south fast. Yeah, no. So look, good point to bring up. Look, the reason why I can't blow into the actual phone and show, you're not going to get anything out of that, is because when I'm blowing down onto here, I'm using it as, it's kind of blowing back at me. I'm trying to just describe it. It's really hard to find the words, but it's almost like the pressure comes back towards your lips from the air that you're blowing on the surface, and it kind of helps it rebound back off your lips and back onto the paint. Is that really confusing? I just don't really know how to actually explain that properly, but look, all I can do is just keep showing you. You start close, like here. Can you see how slowly and gently the little... I'm going to try and bring you over here a little bit more. Okay, I'm about to... No, it's not like blowing out a candle. The question was, is it like blowing out a candle? It's not like blowing out a candle at all. If you try to pretend that this is like blowing out a candle, then you're going to end up with, you know, when you blow out a candle, you just give it a one big bang and the candle goes out. So with this, we won't keep wasting that paint. We'll just do that. Yeah, look, you might blow the candle out when you do your big burst at the end, but it's certainly not going to blow a candle out when that first little bit. I should light a candle and show you. If I had a candle, I'd show you, because then you could see the flame flickering just a tiny bit when I first start and then blowing out when I do the last bit. Gosh, look, I'll go again. Is that angle okay there? Like, can you guys see enough? Oh, good. Yeah, sorry about the shadow. It's just if I don't have those particular lights on that happen to be behind this thing here, maybe I can just, oh gosh. That's better. Okay. Can you see my lips? Geez, that's pretty close. That's scary. Okay, let's put some CA on top. And we'll do it again. I want you to watch very carefully about the way my head moves back. And as I'm moving back, the air increases. That's why you need a really, really big lung full of air, because you have to start slow and follow through with the burst. And if you run out of air before the burst, your bloom is not going to work. Okay, so slow. Okay, that's about how slow I'm starting with. It's barely even making that move. Now, when I put a little bit more pressure on, when I see the circle start to come out and it's going where I want it to, I can really go crazy and just do the big blow, but I don't want to keep my mouth as close to the canvas as I would. Have a look at that halo. That's showing me my cell activator is a little bit runny, but it is quite hot in here, so it's probably thinned out a bit. So this will still work, but the cells won't be as good because you'll see that the CA has sunk pretty much all the way to the bottom. Generally, I wouldn't leave it that long, obviously, but yeah. You really do need to do that head tilt at the end as well. Otherwise, tends to just pick one side that it wants to blow towards, and you might end up with, you know, one really cool side over here, and this side just gets forgotten about. So try to disperse that. You don't want to miss out on any cells that might be juicy over here to stretch out. So you just really want to try to get that circle as big as possible. I might ditch that particular lot now because that's a few too many layers on that. Do you guys like that? Is that a good angle? Like, are you happy with that? Should I leave it there? Thumbs up or thumbs down. Is that close enough and it's good? You can see everything, guys. There's a little bit of delay on the answers for me getting them, but okay, cool, great, awesome. I'll do some more questions and then I will show you another couple of little ways to do it. Question time. The question is, do I purse my lips or form an O? So, let me just come back up. Let's see. What's that? Pursing or owing? I would say pursing. I would say definitely have a skinny strip of air coming out. Probably the reason for that is when you get the big lung full and you start to blow, you want to use only the smallest amount of air from that lung full. You want to keep most of it there for the big burst. So I would say that I go from one to the other. It's a really good question. I would say I go from pursing at the beginning to get that more direct, hi Bree, hey girlfriend, to get that more direct air into that small little 10-cent piece worth of the cell activator. And then once you come back, that pursing may not actually work as well for you for the burst. For the burst, you probably want to go, yeah, I would say that you do open up your lips a little bit more into more of a circle when you're going for the burst after the pursing part at the beginning. When you're going to go for the burst, yeah, definitely not you know, like a full circle, but open them up a little bit more to get the surface area of air that's coming out of your mouth to a bigger area of the canvas. Does that make sense? Made sense when I just watched myself. I've never watched myself blow, and that's the first time. That's one for the bucket list. So, yeah, I just feel like pursing to start. And, oh my gosh, everybody's going to practice in the mirror. Good on you, Brittany. Great idea. Should have done that. I should have done that years ago. I never even thought to do that. I didn't even know what my lips look like when I do that. So that was really interesting. Lenny, can you imagine 215 people blowing at the same time behind their phone? Oh yeah, that is a funny visual right there. Ha! Right, enough with the jokes. I'm sure there'll be a couple more, but like, yeah, some people might not appreciate this. Only like 99.9% of us, you know, dirty-minded gutter trash. Okay, so the question is, sorry, could you just repeat that? That was a little bit confusing. I'm just getting a question about the time frame of, is it the time frame of the first initial part? Oh, okay. So the question is, what is the time frame that it would normally take to blow out the initial circle before you start to blow out the petals, if that's what you wish to do after the initial blow? So I would just say that would vary. That would vary between how much area you do have in your lungs. Like I just fill my lungs all the way up and I don't stop blowing until all that air's out. So I would say, like, let's time it. Probably, I would say, like, not even 5 seconds. I would say, you know, 3 to 4 seconds. You should have that whole situation done by. Yeah, the first little pursing part. Then open up your lips a little bit more, get that air. Save the best of it for last. You don't want to blow too much before you lose that. I can't read the comments. I know, okay. I don't even know how to turn the comments off. That's how professional I am at this. Anyway, yeah, no, it's okay. I love seeing the comments, guys. Yeah, some of them, I won't read later. Okay, so the conclusion we've come to so far is, and I'm going to do a couple more just because I want to make sure, it's full of the blowing, and it doesn't really matter what part of the video you clock into, you're going to see me blowing. We'll do a couple more of that same style where we just want to get the circle out. And then, so here we go. I'm much more focused now on actually like how long it's taking me and what my lips are actually doing when I'm doing this. I never really thought about it before. Yeah, and it's cool. It really helps me describe it a lot better than just trying to say, hey, fill your lungs up and just do a big fat blow. So let's just go over that one more time. So pursing the lips together so that there's a thin stream of air so we can do this bit, right? We just want to see the CA start dancing a little bit to the outside puddle. It's just going to start, you know, shaking and spreading out a little bit, all right? And that's the first little bit. As soon as you have that circle coming out, that's when you want to start the big burst. So you're going to move your head back at the same time as blowing much harder, and also twisting your head and your lip. Well, I don't know whether or not you might prefer to just change the position of your lips to blow that out, but I find that moving your head is a better than moving your lips. And the reason for that is you're keeping the airstream, the same size, you're keeping it steady. You know, it's like, let me just try to think. It's like a leaf blower in the yard. If you're blowing a pile of leaves and you see some over on the side there that you need, you're not just going to twist the air at the front of it to go over that way. You're going to move the whole thing over. So the big uniformed airstream that is quite large coming out of your mouth now is going to be the same all around. So you're going to get the same size cells, and just, yeah, a little bit more uniform across the board rather than, well, I'll just show you, look. That was me trying to do it by just twisting my lips around a little bit and making the air go into a different direction rather than, bloody hell, trying to talk. Jeez, you guys. Talking, blowing. Okay. So if I change that to just moving my head and not actually moving my mouth, then I get a much broader area that's more even. Sort of. You see what well, maybe you don't see what I mean. Let's just go to another question. That'll be easier. Next. Oh my gosh, the question is, can you rotate the canvas instead of rotating your head? Holy smokes. I've never done that. That's one for Lisa Marvin. I've seen Lisa do that. She used to do that all the time, and it's a really cool, it is a really cool way, but I don't trust it. And the reason I don't trust it is, well, man, that cell activator, the whole spiral thing, I don't know, it's risky. Look, I'd say that it would probably work 5 times out of 10, and the other 5 times you might actually blow the cell activator into the wrong part as it's spinning. Like, I can't even give it a go because this isn't my. Should we try it? This will be funny. Let's give it a go. Oh gosh, this is going to be a disaster. Lisa, I don't know if you're watching, girlfriend, but don't laugh. Lisa does this on her spinner and it's crazy good, but I'm going to be doing the Shelly Art hand spinner while I blow and talk. Geez, you don't expect much, do you? Right, let's do it. Holy dooly, how do I do this? Okay, so, oh, this is going to be bad. It's entertainment time. So what am I doing? I'm going to put this on here and then I'm going to spin this as I blow. This is just going to be weird. Because I think like the way that Lisa does it is she's got her turntable and she kind of has a really cool, I don't know, system going with where she blows and spins, and it comes out really good, and she gets a nice little tidy bloom with some kind of like petals in there, but this is going to be hilarious. Okay, ready? Oh, this is a setup. Okay. Oh gosh. All right, I'm just gonna move you back a little bit, guys. This is hilarious. I'm having a great time. Okay. Okay, here we go. The blow and spin. Oh, there you go. Oh shit, it's better than anything I've ever done. Oh guys, what do you think? It works. What do you know? It works. Lisa, you invented something amazing. Look at that. I've even got cell activator data. Oh, do you know what? We'll do it again. Ready? Hang on. Which way do I have to go? Oh, that's not bad, actually. I guess, yeah. Wow. Okay. Let's make another live on spinning blowing. Yeah, okay, so that works. That's really cool. Probably better than anything I can do today, but anyway. Wow, that's cool. Can't believe I've never tried that. There you go. Lisa, you've done it, girl. You've invented the blow and spin. If you guys have problems, I need to try to get my serious hat back on because I'm just cracking up here. Yeah, if you do have problems with that initial circle blow, then that is definitely something to try. I can't believe I dismissed that before as, no, that's just going to wreck everything. See, I just like to have a little bit more control. I'm going to try that again because that was just super cool. And I just want to make sure that wasn't a fluke because, you know, that can sometimes happen. Yeah. I'll take another question while I'm setting up to just do a reassuring blow and spin before I can absolutely recommend it. Okay, the question is, Diane, thanks for the question. The question is, am I putting my top lip over my bottom lip? Definitely not. Look, the only reason I would... well, I mean, there's no reason that I would do it, but if I did put my top lip over my bottom lip, that would pretty much be, I can just see everybody practicing right now and everybody's blowing on their chin. Yeah, it just sends the air straight downwards instead of forwards. So look, it's up to you if that's the way your lips are designed and that's what happens when you start to blow on something. If it tends to naturally just come out a bit further than your bottom lip and you notice that the air's going down, like instead of straight ahead, that's fine. Just position your face so that you're looking more forward, which might be a little bit hard because you can't actually see what you're doing. But yeah, definitely can still work. It's just going to be directing the air further in and downwards rather than... I guess going straight ahead like this is just easier for me because I can see where the air's going. If I had to look a little bit more forward like this, I'll be struggling to kind of see what's actually going on down there. So yeah, no, definitely even Steven when it comes to the lips, both together evenly, and just trying to get the thin stream happening first with the pressure is really important because you're not using your big lung full of air that you need for the burst to start with. So basically all you're doing when you purse your lips tighter at the start, all you're doing is trying to disperse that paint evenly. You can go down and do a straight big blow. Look, I'll show you how you can just go straight into it if you like, but it's less calculated. You're not... You know, the reason that I kind of start slower and end up faster is I'm just trying to set that paint up in the beginning so that the burst sends it where it's meant to go. You can definitely just go straight ahead and go for it. You don't have to do that first bit, but why is everything doing the opposite to what I'm saying it's going to do? That was potluck right there. Yeah. Look, that was just lucky that that one worked, but it's going in blind. You're not really setting yourself up properly. You can probably practice your burst like that. There you go. That's the best one we've done today. Not just telling you not what to do. But just blow them out because they're quite cute and I can't resist. So I love the little square and triangular shaped cells that you can get by blowing out the circular ones, and it makes them bigger too. The only problem with that is when you start to stretch it, these can get really long, and you can kind of, I like them better to just there where they are like that. Isn't that beautiful? I love those little square ones. Did I forget what I was talking about? Oh, I think I did. Let's just go to another question. That'll be easier. Next. Oh, okay. So, okay, can you just repeat that so I don't get the wrong part? I'm not sure which, are you talking about blowing the petals out or the initial two section blow at the beginning for the circle? Sorry. Okay, so the question is from Karen, and it is after you do the initial blow, do you blow out the petals from around the outside, or do you come back to the center to blow the cell activator out? That's a pretty easy one. You don't come back to the center after the initial blow. Don't ever come back to the center unless all you're planning on doing is blowing straight down into a couple of bursts if you have a lot of cell activator left in the middle. That's when you see those beautiful tidy little bunches of cells inside cells that you see some people get, because I don't get them very often because I purposely don't try to leave a lot of cell activator in the middle, but we'll have a go at that in a minute and see if I can show you how to get those little bunched up ones. But for now, yeah, the question. So after the initial blow, if you're wanting to blow the petals out, you don't come back to the center. Okay, so I'm running. So see how my cell activator is getting a bit low now? So I wouldn't just dip into that and use my stick's worth of the cell. I would tilt it on the side so I can get that good amount worth on the stick before puddling it on like that. Okay, so when you're going to blow the petals out, so we'll do the first one. That was a bit dismal. Okay, so you don't come back into here and blow the cell activator out from the middle there. Nope. What we're going to do is find the parts that have the cells, and we're going to catch them about halfway to the outside. We don't want to come back into the middle, because I'll show you what happens if you come back into the middle. Okay, we're going to end up with way too much white with like nothing happening. We want to catch that just enough on the cells there. You see the stripy ones? Oh, it's a bit runny. Let's try this other side here. So we have a few bit of cells here. Yeah, so you're definitely better catching them about halfway out your bloom if you're going to blow the petals out. I tend to try to leave the initial circle there, although this isn't really the best example of a bloom to try to show you that, because I don't have the cells out here and the cell activator that I want to show you that, but I need to do a better one so that I've got the cells to work with. Didn't really think about the fact using black and white that I might not get as many. Let me concentrate for a second and get some pattern here to work with, and I can show you a little bit better. So yeah, the double, I might not be able to, I probably can't even show you the double petal because I'm not getting enough out of these paints today, but I'll try to put on a bit more cell activator and see if that works. Okay, so see these bunches of cells here? Beautiful, straight out like that. We want to catch the cells, but just not, you don't want to wreck the little circle of cells that you've got going on there in the middle. We don't want to touch them because that's going to be the center of our bloom, and we don't want to destroy that. I wonder if I could use some, might chuck some boom gel on there just to get a little bit more cells happening. I'll take another question and then I'll show you something else. Yeah. Okay, the question is, my petals are generally really skinny. Is that a problem with the cell activator? Look, it's not. Well, look, it could be a problem with the cell activator, but I would generally say that it's not. I would say that it's more in the blow, and I'll just do a little demonstration to try to answer that question a little bit better. So getting the skinny petals after the initial blow, I just need some more paint, guys. Hang on a second. Tearing through this here. Oh, actually, funnily enough, I actually ran out of pillow paint, and then I remembered that I'm actually painting the house at the moment, and that I had a bunch of 6-litre tins there that were only ever so slightly tinted with, you know, a bit of like the off-white colour. So that's what I'm using today. It doesn't seem to have made any difference. It's only very, very off-white. But yeah, the people I've hired to come and paint the house might not be happy when they get here and all their paint's gone. Okay, so just bear with me, guys. I'm going to try to throw a little bit of boom gel on here because I haven't got too much paints mixed up, but this might help the cell action a bit. I'll go just a bit of that Mana Crab blue. Probably should have put that on top, but brain's not functioning, doing too much blowing, and I'm out of brain cells. Okay. So what I'm going to try to do here is try and get enough cells here to work with. Okay, that's better. Right. Now, I want to show you the difference between blowing a petal out and getting a skinny petal, and blowing a petal out and getting a really big, nice, fat, bloomy petal. So if I just go purse my lips in a skinny line and go, okay, I'm going to blow that petal out there, that's what I get. Okay. If I move way back off the canvas more, get a much deeper breath because I'm further away, it has to reach the canvas further, and a blow harder but much further back, you'll see the difference. Okay, so takes a little bit of practice to catch. I'm not even getting that extra CA, so let's just put it in there. Let's just pretend that that's there like that. Okay, sometimes you'll just have a little bit of the CA there on the outside edge. And you know you're going to get more cells if you're going to try to do the double petal thing. But see how wide that is? Bit too much CA there. I don't even know if you can see those tiny cells. But yeah, so basically the answer to that question is closer down is going to get you skinny petals like that. Further out with a big deep breath and try to direct that air starting at the point where you want the rest to push out from that part. So yeah. So that's something I've really just started doing lately, is really moving back from the surface when I'm doing these petals. And I'm finding that when you do have that bit of CA there, like there, it can really produce a gorgeous, cell-rich, you know, lots and lots of cells, and a big extra petal. I don't know if you guys, a lot of you probably did see that beautiful bloom I did about a week ago. It was like the cappuccino and the sangria from this little piggy and some gold and black and white, I think. And it had the most beautiful double petals happening. And that's just because luck of the draw was with that particular blow, I was just lucky enough to end up with a beautiful line of cell activator with colour still underneath it. And that's just like a gold mine finding that. You know that you're going to be able to get even better cells than you did in the middle once you have that bit of cell activator left there to play with. Look, you can go ahead and put it on like I just did, but it's just not really... I sometimes go, oh gosh, there's a boring bit, you know, and then you know, you can get extra cells that way, but then you're going to try to be dealing with this kind of blobby bit of white stuff here that's you know, not really anybody's cup of tea, having a big blob of white in the middle of your bloom. So yeah, skinny, it's kind of the same thing as when you're doing your initial blow. So skinny pursed lips means a skinny little bloom circle or skinny petals. Back further and a much wider blow from much more of a distance back is going to give you the really nice big wide ones. I'm just going to keep painting while I take another question so I can try to do it. Yeah, next question. Okay, so thanks for the question. The question is, what happens if you're left with a big white circle, oh well, whatever colour cell activator you're using. What happens if you're left with a big puddle in the middle after the initial blow? Okay, so there's two different ways to answer this question. The first way is, depends on if you're spinning or tilting. Now, the first option you have with that is if you're spinning, it's likely that as long as you still have colour underneath that big puddle of cell activator, as long as there's still colour under there, you could probably go ahead and give that bloom quite a hard spin, and it will thin out that cell activator, and even though it takes a couple of moments extra for them to come through, you will actually be able to get the middle to cell up after spinning. And the reason for that is it's stretching out that cell activator across those colours so thinly that it'll have no choice but to pop the cells through. Probably won't have as much luck with that tilting, but that's an easy option out of it with the spinning. Now, if you try that and that's not working, or you don't particularly like that idea, you can definitely do the double or triple blow. These paints are thickening right up now. Finally got the studio a little bit colder. It's been making really runny paint lately from the heat. Oh yeah, sorry, is it cold where you are? Jeez. Did I mention I've never seen snow? I told a couple of you guys that, and you don't believe me. You actually don't believe me. I've never even touched it. Thanks, Dad. I know you're not watching, but you promised me when I was little you would take me to touch the snow, and you never did. I'm holding that to your grave, mate. Okay, so eventually it'll happen, but to be honest, I'm not even that interested in feeling snow because I just can't stand the cold. I absolutely hate the cold. I cannot stand it. I don't like wearing jumpers. I'd rather sit like a lazy person in the heater than dress right up with layers and layers and layers of clothing on. I just find that like annoying and painful. Okay, so let's do a huge puddle of cell activator just for the sake of this experiment. Now, I'm still going to try to just keep the blow on point like we talk about, but I'm just going to put like 3 times the amount of cell activator on there. Okay, so that didn't really work because all I did was blow the whole lot to the outside. Okay, so my paints aren't really the consistent. I can see my cell activator here, look. It's out here on the edge. Little bugger. All right, what am I going to do? I wonder if I could use... Let's try that again with a little bit of a thinner or thicker Shelley. What is the answer? I'm not going to waste that paint. I'm just going to flip that back on top like that. Okay, so let's try that again. I didn't end up with that puddle that I needed. I love it when I see you guys doing those. You know what I'm going to do? I think it's a little bit too thick. So here I go with my thinning agent. Just going to pop a little bit of that in. And see if I can get that cell activator to stay in the middle a little bit. That's a bit better. Pop a bit into the black. Yeah, I love seeing you guys doing those bunched up cells in the middle. Honestly, look, I think a lot of it's to do with the consistency of paint as well, because sometimes that works for me, especially when I'm doing swipes. You know, when you see the blooms down the middle of the swipes, that's because of all the leftover cell activator sitting in the middle. And because you're swiping so thinly across the top of it, you've definitely got colour still underneath that middle. So it's a really cool way to just blow along in the strip and get that. Gosh, I hope this works this time. If it doesn't, I'm going to have to admit failure. That'll be terrible. Okay. Oh gosh, I'm going to go for this thinner cell activator that I thought was a bit dodgy, but it might be just what we need for this. All right. So you can see how, see when the cell activator is thinner, the cells just come through really, really easily. Now, if I just blow back in the middle, that's not going to work. Okay. Let's just pretend that there's a really nice puddle of cell activator in the middle there. And we've got colour underneath it, and there's too much. Okay, this is the new centre of the bloom, everybody. Get aligned. All right. So let's pretend this is the centre. We've blown it out and we're left with that. You can easily, you know, you can blow on any part of, you can blow on any part of the puddle that has a blob of cell activator in it. So, you know, there's some, as long as there's still colour underneath it, it's still going to cell up. I still don't know how some of you are getting the bunched up cells inside cells. I mean, do that. Let me just try to find another example. I can do that, but I can't do the multiple. So here's a little example of this one. So, oh, can you see that? Shit, that's a bit close. Poke your eyeballs out. Okay, so where is it? This area here, that's what I've done there. So I did the initial bloom. I was left with quite a lot of, what colour did I use? Looks like indigo. Quite a lot of the indigo cell activated just here. Well, it was back here when I was doing it. And then I gave it a quick blow, and you end up with, yeah, a bloom inside a bloom. So what I'd love to see is the bloom inside the bloom, as well as the double petals on the outside. Now that is a massive challenge. I would love to see somebody do that. If I could actually get those things in the middle, then yeah, I'd give it a go. But there you go, there's a challenge. Bloom inside a bloom with double petals. That would be spectacular. Yeah, so quick answer to the question, even though it wasn't quick, it was really long. Is yeah, if you see cell activator and you know there's colour underneath, blow it. Do not leave it. Otherwise you're wasting the opportunity for maybe even the best cells in that particular painting. So, yeah. All right, I'll take another question, please. Am I going to, the question is, am I going to show a multiple blow bloom? Am I? Isn't that what I just did? That didn't work. So a multiple blow on the one bloom, or you want to see me do 3 puddles and blow them to join them? I think that's what I do. Is that what I should do? All right, let's do both. I'm a little bit confused about that question, whether it was multiple blows on the one bloom. Oh, so we want to do some individual puddles. So a multi-bloom. So let's do 3 next to each other. Is that right? And then we'll blow them. I'll show you how I blow them so that they join up and you don't get left with white. We're just going to go black and blue. Okay. All right, so multi-blooms. Now, what you need to think about when you're doing more than one bloom is, firstly, how far apart to put these puddles. I don't like to have them too far apart because otherwise you're going to be struggling to blow them and join them. The other reason is if you have them too far out from each other and you don't quite blow them and join them, the part that's in the middle here, this white pillow, is going to stretch right out. And you know, some people do like the separated bloom look on the one canvas, but it can be cool as well to link them together. So what I mean by that is trying to get them to overlap each other in a way that, and look, this is risky business. This is something that for me, it doesn't come out perfect every time. It's really kind of luck of the draw if it's going to blow across on top of it in the exact right manner. The other option is getting yourself a little tool like this, or a strand of spaghetti like you see me use before I owned any of these things, and stitching them together so that they hold together when you're stretching it is the main thing. But if you get the blow right, you can certainly get away with just blowing them on top of each other and linking them together that way. Now, there's a couple of different ways to do this. You can put your selectivator onto all the puddles first, which is probably what I would do with a smaller piece like this, because basically you're just going to go puddle, puddle, puddle. There's not going to be really enough time for the selectivator to sink before you blow. And you can just sort of go blow, 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 and it really is kind of just, it's lucky. If they go where you want them to go, it's lucky. You can tend to sort of, you know, practice blowing them across each other, but sometimes it just doesn't work. You can't really control fluid paint to that point every single time, but we'll give it a go. Same kind of thing. Just want to get the burst. And I'm just going to push it so that part of it flips on top of the other one. Like that. And then we're just going to let that sit and develop. If you do like to stitch them together, I won't do it this time because it's just an example of the overlapping each other. If you did want to go through here and just stitch them together a little bit so that they hold back together, like I might end up with a bit of a white strip there. But look, practice makes perfect with this particular multi-bloom technique. You really just want to practice overlapping them on top of each other, and just, look, the luck part of it is whether or not you're going to have any cells in the part that blew over the other part. So there's nothing you could do really to control that too much. It'll just be lucky if it does come out like that, but so that was pretty cool. We got a fair bit of cell action there. Just concentrating, sorry. On the parts that overlap, so it wasn't too much of a disaster. I didn't really use my go-to method for stretching Trying to do it in front of the camera, but so you never really know with this one what you're going to end up with. I've had a lot of fails trying to do these, especially trying to do 2 blooms on a rectangle. That's a pretty hard one. So basically, unless you're going to do 5 blooms, you won't end up with a flower in the middle. If you're doing 3 or 4, you're going to end up with your overlapped part as the center. So it's still cool. It's just not very, you bloom. Oh, the boom, what color is the boom? Is the Mana Crab blue. It's like it's kind of, well, is it the darkest blue? I think it's the darkest blue. Yeah, it's the darkest blue. So it's a pretty cool color. I like to use the Mana Crab blue as the last color on top of a bunch of piggies and normal paints. Little bit of a trick with the boom is popping a small puddle on just before the CA. It tends to help the cells, especially if you're having trouble getting cells. The boom is pretty much, it's the perfect consistency. So you can always go to your boom gel and just check out the consistency on a little canvas or a piece of paper or whatever. And, you know, try to get, even though, yes, I don't know whether that's the best advice because some of them are different consistencies, but generally the colours like the Mana Crab blue and the Mallee ringneck blue, the parrotfish green, the kookaburra brown, they all tend to be very similar consistency to the way I mix my paints. So I think that's why if you're trying to use the boom gel and you're having a few problems with it moving more separate than your other paints, you probably need to adjust your consistencies to be more like the boom gel. The boom gel, it doesn't really like to be messed with, it doesn't like to have things added to it. So I would highly suggest adjusting the consistency of your other paints rather than trying to add things to thin your boom out. It can get very, it likes to eat cells up if it has things like Floetrol added to it and thinning agents and things. So yeah, just got to have a bit of a practice with that. I'm just going to whip up some paint quickly. I'm going to take another question and then I really want to show you what do I want to show you? What have I got over here? I've got some blue and white over here. I'll just use those. I'd like to show you just quickly another little trick if you're struggling with a bloom blow and you still want to make a cute little canvas with lots of cells without the blow dryer and without swiping. You can definitely blow them out from a line as well. It's just the same concept of catching the CA or the cell activator in your trail of the air and getting it to move outwards. So do we have another question while I'm doing this? The question is, does blowing create thicker or thinner lacing? Look, no, I don't think that. Well, look, I guess if you don't blow as hard, don't ask me what color this is because this is a color under construction that I'm working on at the moment. So do let me know if you love it. Just don't ask me what it's called yet. I had it mixed up to the side there and I was like, no, that's a color under construction. I can't use it. But now that I've got nothing else to use, I'm going to use it. Okay, so look, the blowing I think doesn't really have too much to do with thin or thick lacing. I feel like it's definitely the consistency of your cell activator that's in charge of thick or thin lacing. Like we spoke a little bit about last time, when you're doing larger pieces, you definitely want to keep your cell activator thicker, because when you stretch out the larger pieces, you know, obviously your lacing thins out as well, and can become quite skinny. And eventually, when it stretches way, it just sinks and you're left with nothing. So, yeah, no, that's definitely more of a cell activator situation. And you can probably flick back to the last BloomLive from a couple of weeks ago, where we do touch on that in that segment about you know, keeping your cell activator thicker. I really just do recommend watching that one if you haven't, because even though this blowing is it's really helpful to know how to blow, if you're blowing on a shit cell activator, then it doesn't matter how good your blow is, you're not going to get anywhere with it. Your cell activator has to be on point. So yeah, this video and the last one definitely go hand in hand in that sense. So no, the blow definitely doesn't have anything to do with it, whether your lacing comes out thicker or thinner, because really that's in the stretching and the cell activator. So this other little kind of way here, this will be one of probably the last demos, because I'm running out of cell activator too. I'm out of a whole heap as well. Is that the thin one or the thick one? How can I tell? Let's see. Yeah. Smell it, make sure it's actually cell activator. Okay, so what we're going to do here is, I should probably, no, I won't swipe on side, but you've probably all seen us doing these types of the swiping. It's basically just the colors. Instead of your bloom in the middle, you're just striping the colors onto the pillow. If you're using a white cell activator, obviously finish with something dark first so that you're getting the contrast of the cells. I wouldn't have done that around the other way, where I went black, gold, blue, because the blues are a sparkly pigment. It's going to bleed into the CA, or the CA is going to bleed into the pigment, and we're not going to get that nice solid separation. So I'm just going to try to keep it as straight as possible. Straight down the middle with the CA. Whoop. Okay, and I'll turn it around and we'll go for the other way. You always want to try to leave a little bit of the cell activator where you need it there. For obvious reasons, if you just blow straight out on the color and you don't catch that white, obviously, you know, that is not going to work for you. You're going to just blow the color out. So you want to start with a fairly nice amount. We'll just wait for that pillow to get back in there. Start with a fairly nice amount of the cell activator, and make sure that when you're blowing the cell activator out into the stripes, that you're not taking it right over from this edge, because you don't want to steal the cell activator from this side. That would be robbery, and that would be uncool, because you'll be left with nothing, and then you're faced with having to put more on to blow the other side out, which is that's not going to be good, because then you're going to be left with, you know, the big white blobs that are really there for no reason, and you don't want to see them. So you see what's happening to mine in the middle there. Even though some of those cells are juicy, that cell activator is a little bit thin, and this is a really good way to show you what happens when it is a little bit too thin. Can you see it moving on its own in the middle? Luckily, this painting is not very big, because you wouldn't get away with stretching this one very far at all because of what's happening with that cell activator. It has thinned out while it's been sitting there, and now it's not moving at the same time as the colors. So if I kept going with that, if this was a bigger canvas and my cell activator was like that, I'm going to start to come into some real serious problems with that, running over the top of the colors. and basically, yeah, ruining it. There's like not really anywhere to go once you start to see your cell activator do that. And you can see how, even though I've got some nice juicy cells, the webbing is quite thin there, because either I've picked up the wrong pot of the thinner one, or that's been sitting there. And yeah, that's another reason why try not to use your cell activator. Try to use it up in, I would say 2 to 3 days at the most, because it gets liquidy and it gets much watery. I find sometimes, you know, pumping mine up with more paint to keep it to the right consistency. I would go as far as saying don't use it after the second day. Yeah, 2 days max for the cell activator. Your pouring colours, especially if they've got pigments in them, are different. You can keep them longer, but yeah, the cell activator has a short lifespan. It starts to get quite thin when it sits there. Maybe not if you're in, you know, beautiful tropical places like Billy and Lisa, where it's just so warm all the time and nice. And oh yeah, no, sorry, I meant the opposite. It's opposites day today. Did you know? Yeah. So temperature. That's another. The temperature's another whole conversation that we need to have on a different day, because it's wreaking havoc around the world at the moment. It's full-blown summer here in Australia, so my paints are terribly thin. Unless I wanted to keep my air conditioner on. I can't even get that glove on because my hand's wet. If I wanted to keep the air conditioner on full time in the studio, when I'm only in here like for hours during the day, yeah, it would keep everything temperature controlled. But I mean, nobody can afford to just keep an aircon on for no reason, just to keep your paints cool. I try to come in the morning, turn it on, and just cool the room down. I had Mitchell suggest something really cool, and it reminded me of heating up a baby's bottle when the kids were little, and that is making a bucket of water. So if you're in the States at the moment, or Canada, where it's absolutely freezing, and everything's really, really thick, he suggested making a pot of warm water and popping your bucket or small tin or whatever it is that your paint's into there. I wouldn't do it too hot. I'd just do it, you know, warm enough to just... And then I think if you start stirring it, you probably start to really notice when that tin or that bottle or that bucket starts to heat up a little bit. You definitely start to see the paint thinning out a little bit more. For me here in Australia, that might mean the opposite of making up maybe cups like this instead of the baby cups. Or even, I love these containers here for resin. I'll be busting these out not next week, in a couple of weeks' time, for the next BloomLive, which is coating your artworks in resin. That's going to be a really cool one. I'll have to get the temperature under control for that, and make sure everybody knows how important that is. But so these little buckets here, they're quite good for measuring resin, because they've got really specific numbers on there for measuring, which resin is very, very important to have it really 50-50 if you're using the 1:1 ratio. They're also really handy for keeping in mixed up pouring medium, or putting a whole heap of pillow paint into there, and then, like Mitchell suggested, popping it into, for us here, it would be maybe a little bit of iced water, and cooling the pillow paint down so that it can thicken up a little bit, because our pillow paint just gets so runny in the heat. It's crazy, yeah. All right, I'll take another question while I try to dry my hands out. I can't get gloves on. Yeah, okay, so the question is, why does it look like the cell activator sometimes is breaking apart? So thanks for the question, Leah. It's a really good one, because I'm watching it slightly happen here. Not a crazy amount, but what that has to do with is basically, that's my little boy. Go away. Bye. Love you. Bye. Yeah, it's to do with the paint that's underneath the cell activator. Look, it's a really difficult question to answer because, and I'm not sure if temperature comes into that as well or not, but stuffed if I know why sometimes it happens to me and sometimes it doesn't. I tend to get that cell activator breakage looking thing going on when the cell activator is thicker and there's quite a thick coloured, sometimes normally happens with these types of paints, particularly these colours, purples, pinks and blues, and black on occasions. I can't answer why sometimes my black does it and sometimes it doesn't, because I use the same black all the time. I really do love the Holcroft Carbon Black, because of the reason that it doesn't go all flocky and weird and broken up most of the time. Sometimes it does do that, and I've got a funny feeling that it's really to do with, look, I've got a couple of theories for this one, but I can't guarantee it in writing for you because I haven't tested it out enough to actually know for sure. But I feel like when it's freshly mixed paint, so tomorrow, this paint that I've got here, tomorrow, when that all settles down and it kind of melts into the pouring medium a little bit more, I find that it doesn't do it as much as freshly poured color with a fresh CA on top of it. Yeah, I really feel like the only way you can determine what's causing that is to mix up what color you're using last. So yeah, sometimes it happens with, where is it? So this is my favorite purple, the Atelier Free Flow Diox Purple. Now, 9 times out of 10, yeah, so this is on the Fluid Art Co website too, guys. So we decided to stock these paints after I've done quite a bit of testing with them, and they're all beautiful and bright, particularly the magenta and the phthalo green. Yeah, they're gorgeous colors. But this purple one here, 9 times out of 10, no breakage with the CA. You know, it's beautiful. It's really trustworthy and reliable. I use it all the time. And then 1 time out of 10, it might just happen. And I can't really pinpoint why that is. It's just, it's across all the brands. It doesn't really matter what brand of paint you use. I think it's more to do with just the Floetrol aspect in the cell activator. As we know, that's the thing that makes the cells, but it can also sometimes make things go a little bit funky. I guess all you could do is just do a process of elimination. Switch up which color you're putting directly under that cell activator. Or switch up your brands, or yeah, it's just probably more of an incompatibility issue with the two things that are next to each other. I feel like I do get it more when the cell activator is thicker, and I definitely do get it more with darker colors, so purples, pinks, you know, magenta, phthalo blue, those deep dark colors can be a little bit nasty for that. But yeah, you just have to keep practicing, and it's just one of those things that just sometimes happens. Look, it still happens to me to this day and age. It honestly does, and I'm not exempt just because of the experience that I've got from these niggly little problems. Like, you know, sometimes I have issues with them drying. Sometimes I get flocculation on the side. You know, like it's not happening here, but it's not really happening with, oh, it is a little bit there. No, well, it's not really. Okay, so it's not really happening with these colors, but yeah, I found something the other day and I was like, oh my gosh. Where is it? Look, this doesn't normally happen to me, but there it is. She's all broken up over the side. And I can't explain where that came from, because I have used these colors before many times, and that didn't happen. So whether or not it was just hotter, colder. Yeah, the stars just don't align every single time for me either. So I guess it's just a matter of practice, and just don't keep using the same combination of paints over and over and over and over and over if that's happening. You know, think to yourself, right, something bad going on here. Got to change things up. Maybe thin out your cell activator, or thicken it up, or yeah, just try that process of elimination. Same thing goes with the flocculation as well. Generally, I feel like the flocking is something that is mostly incompatibility of products, and a lot of the time I blame it on the varnish. Because I don't really get it, and I use the Jo Sonja gloss, I really do feel like it's something to do with the thinner varnishes. So yeah, if you're having a problem with the flocculation, either switch up your tube paint brand or switch up your, I'm gonna bring you back up here now because I've run out of paint. Oh God, I hope I don't hang up on you at the last minute. Whew. Hello. Yeah, don't forget to just, switch up your brands, your consistencies, and try to just take notes on, get that process of elimination happening. Sorry, Susan, I scraped it. I didn't realize what I was doing. Yeah, no, I definitely scraped that because, I don't know, I just did. I don't have a reason. I just wanted to throw it in the bin. Yes, question. Okay, Olga asks, how come sometimes the cells are really little and other times they're big? So I'm assuming, Olga, that you are using the same exact paint mixes for each of the blooms, and then 2 times they're coming out nice and big, and then sometimes the cells are much smaller. So I'd firstly blame that on the size of the coloured puddles. So something I wanted to touch on a little bit more was, I got asked this question just the other day, actually. Why sometimes are the cells huge and why are they just like, non-existent the other time I'm using the same ingredients? So basically, some colours sell up underneath other colours much better than other combinations. So you can, you'll have a black paint sell up quite well underneath a white cell activator, but if you're using less or more cell activator on some of those blooms, even if you're using the same cup of paint throughout the session, all you have to do is put a little bit less or a little bit more cell activator, and you'll find that that's going to make a massive difference to the size of the cells. So what I mean is, I'll try to explain it a little bit better than that, is say you have a medium-sized puddle of blue, pink, purple, and then you put the white on top and you get really amazing cell action because those puddles were the same size and that's how those colors wanted to react together. So you go, great, that's fantastic. I'm going to recreate that bloom now. So you get another canvas, put that one aside to dry. You do the same thing again, but what you don't realize happened is you put your pink and your blue on, and then with your purple, you don't realize, but you only put a much smaller amount than you did the first time. And that could be the color that's sitting on the blue that's making those beautiful cells. And if you don't have enough in that puddle for that particular recreation, and it's not exactly the same amount of the colors that you used last time, the cells aren't going to be the same. And the other thing is too, are you switching around the layering? Like, did you do pink, blue, purple, and then go, oh, those colors are fantastic together, and then get another canvas out and go, I'm just going to switch it around and do purple, blue, pink, and then the cells aren't there. Or the cells are really teeny tiny, and the answer to that is that purple wanted to be on top of the blue. It didn't want to be underneath the pink. Do you kind of see what I mean? Once you get that combination, you grab your pen and your paper, you write down exactly what you can remember that you did, or you film yourself, or like we've spoken about before, take pictures of your puddle, take pictures of your cups so that you know which order you put the paint on in. Because yeah, I can do a pour with 6 colors that comes out absolutely spectacular. As soon as I switch around the order of which those colors went on top of each other, fail. Or the cells just weren't quite as big. That's why sometimes, I like to put the boom on top of the colors before the CA, because it can make the cells underneath larger. And then other times, there's things I want to put on the bottom, and the layering. I've sometimes got to go back to my book all the time, and well, that's a big fat lie. I very rarely go back to the book, but I have a couple of times. When I wanted something to work straight away, I've gone back to my book, but yeah, I generally just go, I don't want to do old stuff, I want to do new stuff all the time. But it's really good to have a book with, and I also rate the color combinations in my book too, with my colored pen. So if they're really, really, really good, they get a big red tick next to them. If they're medium and I like them kind of, and they're reliable, I put a blue tick next to it. And then the ones with a green tick are good color combinations, but they could be tweaked around a little bit to be better. So I always know which ones are the big no-fail red tick combinations, and then work my way down from there. But yeah, so God, why do I take so long to answer one question, Charlie? Just trying to be thorough and give you every single possibility of an answer that might be the reason, so you can try them all. Lucky you. Okay, next question. Yep. Oh, Robin. The question is, can you practice your blow in a bowl of water? Probably not going to get you the answers that you need. I'd rather see you practice blowing on a puddle of pillow paint that you just scoop back into the middle into a circle again and continue just keeping using that same puddle. If you don't have the means, if you're on a budget and you can't be making multiple puddles of pillow paint just to practice blowing on, and then the paint afterwards goes in the bin or goes into another bucket to use later. Yeah, you can definitely use the same puddle over and over. I do things like if I just want to practice, if I want to test a new paint base or a new medium or something like that, I often just see this runoff pillow paint down under here. I often just scoop that together and practice. I just put color straight on, a bit of CA and blow, and you get the idea. You don't need to always have a fresh, clean canvas and turn every experimental session into a massive cleanup job when you're just practicing. It's definitely feasible to use a puddle, over and over. It's even if it's got colored paint mixed into the puddle, it's not really going to affect too much the way that pillow bounces back. The reason why it's best to practice in the pillow paint is the way the pillow paint reacts when the air hits it is going to be teaching you more than any cup of water ever could. You're using the pillow paint as a cushion, so you just want to blow on it enough to just get, say, 3/4 of the way through that pillow, and hopefully that's enough to spread the colors out. You don't want to be blowing straight to the bottom. I guess you could use something a little bit more like, what have I got here? Okay, There's kind of an ugly coaster here that I was practicing making my first coaster. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. Like, it's rose quartz and cappuccino and they look amazing, but I've obviously got no idea what I'm doing. But look, see these little coaster molds, how they've got the lip on the side of them? You could definitely use something where the pillow paint is going to bounce straight back in for you, and you can just continue to keep blowing on the pillow just to get your blow down pat, so you wouldn't be looking at any of the results that happen inside this little pocket here. You're basically just you're keeping that pillow paint in a little pen, so to speak, instead of having to scoop it all back in on top of the canvas. And you can just keep practicing blowing on that, or, you know, do what I'm going to do after this and go straight into the bathroom mirror and just have a look what your lips look like when you're doing it, so I know how silly I just looked. I'm never going to live that down, ever. Never. Yeah, so look, my favorite way of practicing the puddle blow was to just get a sheet of non-stick tablecloth or cardboard or whatever you've got handy, and just sort of do 5 puddles of pillow, one color on top with some CA, and just practice that circular blow. You don't need to set up a big painting session each time. You just want to practice blowing, you know. You want to get that down pat, you know, on a disposable kind of surface, so you can just go over and over and over again. Do 20, 30, 40, 50 if you have to. Just keep going until you've got that right. And then, look, it's a massive thing to be able to cross off the list. If the blowing is on point, you can then eliminate that. If you're having problems, you know it's not your blow. You'll know it's your ingredients or your consistency. Yeah. Hi guys, I'm having fun watching these comments coming through here. It's been a fun one. Okay, next. Okay, Cheryl asked, is there a way to make your pillow more stretchy so that the center springs back? Cheryl. Adding things to the pillow is a hard one for me because I don't actually, because we have the perfect pillow here and I don't have to add anything to it. I have heard down the grapevine that adding your paint base, your untinted paint base. So for us Aussies here, that's this one. And while I'm quickly on that subject, I'll just let you guys know that I have a very large shipment of paint bases coming. I think there is there 16? 21. I have 21 paint bases coming from America. They should be here any day now. I'm going to go through every single one of them. I'm pretty sure there's a gem in amongst them. And yeah, I hope I find something that's better than everything everybody's been using at the moment. So some of the bases, I can see why maybe you guys would not have picked up off the shelf and tried yet, because they're not exactly what I said. You know, they're not the brands that everybody was using that are on the official lists and things like that. But what I found when we had a bit of a walk through the Lowe's, I think it was Lowe's, and the lovely lady there was opening all the tins for us, and I was getting a really good look and a good look at inside those tins when they were fully mixed up, and I can see a lot of potential there. So out of the 21, look, maybe 16 of them will be totally crap. I'm hoping that there's a few in there that make the process much easier, that work with a lot less tweaking than the ones that you guys have over there at the moment, even though some of the most beautiful art is coming out of the USA. Yeah, it would be nice for me to give you a specific brand that I know does work with the other American ingredients that I've got here in the studio. So yeah, for you guys, it might be the Valspar or the Glidden or the HGTV or whatever it is that you're using at this moment. I would suggest adding a little bit of that into the pillow, just to test. Start out with just a little bit, and then if it's a little bit better than what you're used to, add a little bit more in and see if that's going to give it, because you know the paint bases are very they are very stringy and stretchy and bouncy. So yeah, it does make sense to try a little bit into the pillow and see how that goes. You might just need a little splash of it, to be honest with you. It might not take much at all. Wouldn't really go putting the Floetrol into the pillow unless you're looking to thin the pillow out if it's too thick and sluggish and it's just not really moving. Don't add it to get it to be more stretchy, because it's not going to do that. It's almost the opposite of that, actually. It breaks up that stretchiness and it allows it to shift and flow a little bit more freely if you do have a really sluggish pillow. So yeah, sluggish pillow, I would go for the Floetrol and a little bit of water. If your pillow is lacking that kind of, substance where you see me drizzling it down and it's kind of doing the ribbony type thing and it's quite stretchy and slinky, I'll definitely try to add a little bit of the paint base in. And you know what you can do, because it's a white pillow, we've probably all got, what was I going to say? We've probably all got paint bases sitting there that you bought in the beginning, or that when everybody was experimenting. I know I've got about 25 tins over there that I pretty much bought every single one in Australia, and I have ordered a shipment from America already last year. Feels so good to say that. And yeah, a lot of them didn't work for the colourful stuff, but you could go ahead and throw that in your pillow. I mean, why let it sit there and waste it? Give it a go. Throw it in your pillow and see if you can get your pillow to be a little bit more like the paint-based consistency, which is a lot more stretchier and, stretchier. Yeah. Another question? Okay, Kent would like to see a close-up of the consistencies of my cell activator and the colors. I can do that. I'll find a little clean board so I can pop it on there and show you that. So I hope everybody had a really amazing New Year's. Don't know if we're nursing any hangovers, are we? Or is it that time of night where it's just time to eat when you get really hungry? I know that happens to me. I get sick for the whole day and then I just can't stop eating junk for the whole rest of the day. So yeah, hopefully you guys are at the junk eating stage now and nasty hangovers have disappeared. Till the next party. Okay, so Kent wants to say some paint consistency. Let's just, I'm so worried I'm going to drop this thing. I just got this nifty little phone holder, but it's a bit jerky and weird, so I hope it doesn't hang up on you. So far, so good. Haven't hung up on you yet. Okay, so let's see if I can. I always see other people doing this and I think to myself, see, it's a little bit blobby because it's really, there's not much left in there. I'll probably use the black, but the blue might be a little bit easier to see. So I would say, look, I always refer. Yeah, so this This is a possible piggy under construction, so I'd love some feedback if you guys like the look of this one. We've got the frost coming out, but the frost is more of a silvery based. It is more of a silver. It just has that little bit of a touch of a blue in it. So I've been working on this one that it's also silvery, but it's really got that much bigger blast of blue in it. I'm not too sure if I'm 100% happy with that, but I'm feeling like it's going somewhere good. Can't really catch that light at the moment. So yeah, you might see that guy coming out later. So yeah, I would say, I usually like to say warm honey. And I don't mean honey that's had the shit microwaved out of it till it's really, really, really thin. I mean just gently warmed honey. Oh, there's a big blob in that one. We don't want to pull that out. That's yuck. Or is it on the stick? Ew. Okay, I don't know where that came from, but that was lucky. Yeah, so pouring cream is another way that I like to describe it. So I guess all pouring cream's probably different, isn't it? So basically with mine, it does, look, it holds its shape for a very, very small moment. I would say 1 second. You can see it hold its shape on the top of the puddle when you're drizzling it. And another good way too is to pop it on a surface and run your finger through and see how long it takes, although that's going to be dependent on how much you put on there, isn't it? How much of a big puddle you put on there. But yeah, look, it's definitely very, very honey-like consistency. I don't like mine to start dripping off the stick too quickly. I like to see it's going to start breaking up soon. But it's not dripping, it's just breaking up. If it all runs off really, really quickly and it starts to drip, it's way too thin. You definitely want it. It's just so hard to describe because all of our cream and everything is obviously different, but I would say it's like cream that you buy in a carton or a bottle that's not thickened up. It's not it's not thickened cream. It's like pouring cream that they might give you at the cafe to pour into your black coffee. But I think the most important thing to watch for is that drizzling. You should be able to get that drizzling really, really, really super needle thin before it starts to break up and drip. Yeah, so that's the colors. And then the cell activator, I've even got some white here. I wonder what condition this white's in. See, that even looks like pouring cream, the white. So this is the white into the pouring medium. Is it? Yes, it is. Don't sniff paint, people. Yeah, and that really does resemble pouring cream to me. Getting that really long drizzle happening that just seems to go forever and ever and ever. This black here is pouring medium. This is not cell activator, this is pouring medium. If it was cell activator, it would definitely be thinner than that. It's going to start melting in to itself much quicker than that. See how it's kind of holding it's definitely holding its shape when you run through the middle. Oh my gosh, that blue on the black is something else. As for the cell activator, look, you could probably, I'm just trying to think of a good way to describe it. You could probably mix up your cell activator so that it's very similar in consistency to your colors, and then add a tiny little bit of the Floetrol to thin it back out so it's just, see how it just starts, the stream is not really staying there as long. It's starting to break up and start to drip. And you can just tell that it's thinner from that particular test. You still want your cell activator to be doing this. You don't want it to just go plonk, drip, 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 drip straight away. If you're working with similar consistency paints to me, then that is going to be way too thin, way too thin. You're really looking for that beautiful glossy drizzle coming off. And yeah, I would say it is probably a good idea to try to make it close to your colors, and then thin it out from there, rather than trying to, oh, look at that, it's a little swipe. Rather than trying to get it to the perfect consistency when you're not really sure where it's meant to be yet. Having a bit of fun with this little one now. Yeah, so I used to kind of say, make it thicker and then thin it out, but I think it's probably really good advice to say, make it as thick as your colors. That way you've got a starting point to work back from. If you just sort of make it and you think, oh, that's too thick, I don't know, is it too thick? You don't really know how thick it is compared to your colors. So if you're first starting out and you don't really know what you're looking for yet, then definitely, try to make it the same consistency as the colors, and then add little bit by little bit of the Floetrol while you're practicing, okay? The whole idea of doing the thinning out of the Floetrol is practicing, I mean, obviously you'd have a bigger puddle than that, but if you see all of the colors come back in really quickly and you're only left with a really tiny little skinny amount of lacing there, and that happens very fast, your cell activator is too thin. If it's taking, let's just pretend, okay, instead of blowing it right out, I'm just going to pretend that that's thicker, so I blew it less to just try to make out like it's thicker. You'll see that the cells still come through, but they take longer to pop up and come through, and you do get that kind of crazy breakage stuff going on there if it's too thick. But yeah, all I can suggest is it's the same with the consistency of your puddles with the colors, and it's just a matter of, it's the same with practicing to see if your pillow is bouncy enough, or to see if your pillow is how you need it. It's the same thing with the cell activator. Make yourself a big, clear testing thing, piece of cardboard, do your pillows, and test your cell activator out on top of just one color until you see the right sized cells, and the amount of cells that you like, and then you'll know what you're looking for. And if you're like me, you'll go, oh yes, I found the perfect consistency for that cell activator, I've nailed that. Then you go back to do it again, and you can't really remember what it was meant to be like. It's not the type of technique where you can just get it down pat one time and go, yay, now I've got it, everything's going to be perfect every single time. That's just not realistic. It's not that type of, unless someone was going to measure up your cell activator and colors for you stringently every single time in a lab that you wanted to paint, you might have consistency luck there, but it's not that type of technique. I still have to adjust my paints all the time. Almost every time I start painting and I go, oh, hang on a minute, that's not quite right. But after a while, you get to learn what you're looking for. And you get, the only thing that's going to be able to get you to learn actually, for good, is making those mistakes yourself, working out what's the problem that's happening that's making those mistakes, so that you don't do that again. You'll start to learn what a bloom looks like when the cell activator is too thin. You'll do that over and over and over, and you'll just get to know, oh shit, it's too thin, because this is the thing that I see every time when it's too thin. So you'll know instantly to thicken it up. For me, it happens all the time with a cell activator, because I just eyeball it. I put the white paint in, I mix it up, looks pretty good to me, drizzles off the stick. I go to use it, and I get really, really thin lacing that's clearly it's too thin, but I didn't see it when it was drizzling off the stick. So I just pop a little bit of extra white paint in there, mix it up, and you know, just work towards getting it to that consistency. Just do your little practice puddles. I would never embark on a huge painting or a decent sized painting without testing the cell activator first on a small puddle of something, just to make sure it's coming through at the cells are coming through at the right speed. There's the right amount there that we're looking for, and the bloom's developing nicely, or the swipe is developing nicely. And then you go and do your big one. And you do that with all your colors. You test your colors first. If you're going to use pink, purple, and blue with a white cell activator, you do a couple of blooms and a couple of swipes with the different, you know, find out which layer is working best for you, purple, blue, pink, or pink, blue, purple. Work that out first. And then at least you can go in confident, and you know that having that purple on top of the blue is the best way, not the other way around with the pink on top. You know, sort that all out first with a tiny little test patch. Get all your consistencies right. Then you can confidently go into that large painting, and you can almost be guaranteed that it's going to succeed for you. Yep. Everybody's going to bed. Thought you were old party animals. Yes. Okay, Kimberly, thanks for the question. She wants me to talk a little bit about the pillow that I like the best from the USA. Now, it's not so much that I like that one the best from the USA. It's just the best of the three that I've actually tried. So I'm sure there's going to be improvements. I had a lot of people say, well, actually, you know what? I like it so much, I've used it all. So I can't even like open it and show you, because I really didn't find too much of a problem with this one. But other people are saying that they are having a few problems with it, and that it's busting up through the colors and things like that. All I can suggest with that is to just try out that little trick that I was just talking about before, and add some paint base into here. And the reason I say that is those paint bases that they just tint with color at the paint store, they have a lot of binder in there already. And I don't want to get too technical, because I have no scientific idea what I'm actually talking about, so don't hold me to any of this. It's just what I feel they're made up from, and in simple artist terms instead of scientific terms, which, you know, I hate trying to understand the scientific side, and I'm not about to try and put all that jargon on you guys and expect you to understand what I'm talking about when I don't really know. Oh gosh, that sounded terrible. Just trying to be honest and say that when it's a little bit like this stuff here. Where is it? Yeah, we talked about this a little bit. God knows where, we talked about it somewhere. The gloss gel as a thickening agent. The beauty of this product here is, I think, you know, when you're adding it into your mixes, it's full of like a binder. So it's kind of just, it holds everything together, so that, you know, those little problems like the pillow, we call them the pillow cells, and they're coming through from the pillow and popping through the surface, and they're just all little white cells, which might be amazing if you've never seen a cell. You might be like, oh my God, I'm getting cells, but they're like fake cells. They're not actually real. They're dodgy fake ones that are just pretending to be nice cells. You'll never have any color inside them. They're basically just shitty pillow cells. Now, I have seen a couple of success stories where people are, and please put it in the comments if I get this wrong. Some people are adding the clear paint base, which I just suggested. I've done that before with my pillow when my pillow is really thin. I have chucked a little bit of that Taubman's Neutral into the pillow to thicken it up, because it's very, very thick and gluggy. And it can do that thickening thing in emergencies before I could get a chance to cool the paint down. And it has no effect really on the outcome of my pillow, because really your pillow it started off as a paint base itself anyway. That's how it was born. And it just had a whole heap of white thrown into it. So I think my earpods are going flat. Yeah, so anyway, you can try. I mean, I wouldn't go putting that in your pillow. That's just way too, it's a way expensive way to do it. There are cheaper versions of that. This is also a gloss gel. Haven't really tried that one, but that type of thing could be an option for thickening up your pillow if it's too thin. And these are only like $10 a tube, so it might not take much in a little pot to thicken up your pillow with that. Yeah, I'm kind of trying to answer the question, but because I've never really, even when I got this, didn't have to add anything into it. It seemed to work quite well for me, but it must have had something to do with me using the Taubman's base instead of the bases that you're using over there in America. It must have allowed this pillow to come through that paint base. So you could try two things. You could try thickening this up with some paint base, even some of your dodgy ones that you don't want to, you're not going to use for your colors. Just whack them in and give it a shot. Yeah, that's all I can suggest at the moment. But I do have more pillow coming, and yeah, I've got lots more experiments to do. So if I do come up with something spectacular soon, of course I'll be sharing that. What about adding the GAC 800 to stop the paint from breaking apart, and how? So I just caught a little question there about adding the GAC 800 to stop the paint breaking apart. So this is the thing about the GAC 800. I think I actually sent it to Bree because I wasn't using it. How's that going, Bree? Do you want to come in and answer that question? Yeah, no, lots of people do love to add the GAC. That is what the GAC was invented for. So I'd be very surprised if it didn't actually help with the paint breakage, paint cracking, crazing, drying issues. Here I go off on the big trail again. That's way away from the question, but will quickly add it in. Cover, one of my earpods is flat. That's okay, I've still got one working. It'll get us through. Yeah, cover your drying art, guys. Cover it with a tent. Where's mine? Oh, I've taken it outside too. Oh, actually, that's a really cool thing I can tell you. When I put the air conditioner on in here, I took my drying art outside where it was really hot, and I put the tent over it with the sheet back over it out there where it's quite humid and it's like 30 whatever degrees here in Australia at the moment. I wouldn't leave it in here while the aircon was blasting because it's going to really affect the drying process. So you want to keep that under the tent area. Needs to be nice and warm and toasty, and drying it like as slow as possible. Phone's going flat as well, guys. I'm running out of time. Hang on a second, I'll try to. Oh, have to take that one off. Technical stuff going on here. That's all right. There's a little thing there. Oh, guys, don't mind me for a sec. Hang on. I don't want to miss this last bit. Hang on. Well, this thing's stupid. Oh. Is that working? I can't even tell. I don't want to press anything to see if that's charging because I'll probably hang up on you. We'll just see how we go. Oh, the joys. Yeah, and just to remind you guys, when I do these, yeah, this is a home studio. It's not a professional news reading room where the security guards out the front telling little kids to go away and be quiet. So yeah, that stuff does happen. They do come in. I'm sorry if it gets interrupted. Today it didn't, but sometimes they do. So apologies for that, but you just need to understand that, yeah, I'm at home and it's school holidays. Yeah, so stuff happens. So yeah, cover your paintings when you're drying them. What were we just talking about? Adding the paint base. I think we've just been finding out in the last couple of weeks that the paint bases, yeah, you can add them into the pillow, and it can help the pillow become more like my pillow. And I know you guys all want the same pillow as me. We're pretty lucky here. I didn't realize, you know, yeah, when I brought the course out, how different white paint could be. I honestly just thought they would all be, you know, much of a muchness. Someone did say to me, and I can't remember who it was, if it was Robert. Was it Robert? Can't quite remember. Someone said they put, gosh, what did they put in their pillow? I'll remember and put it in the comments. There was something tricky someone did. Was it? Oh, what was it? Oh, that's right. The flat paint. Maybe if you're going to try this one, get a very small sample pot. But I did hear someone say that they were using flat paint, which in my terms would be ceiling paint, which would crack to pieces upon drying. And I'm thinking they said they put the GAC 800 into the flat pillow because that particular ceiling paint pillow was really stretchy and beautiful and looked like the perfect consistency, and all he had to do was take away the matte aspect of the pillow that was making it crack, because we don't want the flat paint. Yeah, somehow turning it into like a half glossy paint, and that worked really well for him. So if you don't have access to a really good satin or semi-gloss pillow, have a little play with the flat pillow and see if you can add maybe a bit of gloss into it, or the GAC 800 to get it through that drying process. Yeah, I'll be trying that. Wish I had more hours in the day to try everything I want to, but we're slowly ticking things off the list. And yeah, these videos will keep coming until we've covered everything. Everything. Do we have another question? Oh, okay. Yeah, no, that's okay. The question is, what do I do with all the scraped off paints? So in a situation like today when I'm doing the demos, I'm probably going to scrape that out and chuck it out because it's got a skin on it. There's a lot of color compared to pillow, just because the type of testing that we've been doing and the types of demos that I've been doing today. Look, I definitely save the runoff paint as much as I can. I keep 2 buckets to the side. One bucket, if I do a failed bloom and it's such a failure, I know I'm not even going to stretch it because I basically didn't get any cells, or yes, it does still happen. I do shit blows and blooms sometimes, and I don't even bother stretching it out because I kind of know it's not going to work. So instead of stretching it out and having all the colors flow over the side and everything, I do a really shallow scrape on the colored part into the bucket where I'm going to dispose of that paint. And then the cleaner type pillow underneath here, I definitely put it straight into a container where I keep a lot of the pillow paint runoff that doesn't have a lot of color in it. So you'd be surprised if I generally use like a lot of pillow paint. I find that it's much better to use more rather than less, unless you're doing a really large painting and it's on a canvas. You'll come into strife if you try to use a great deal of pillow on a canvas that is going to be sinking under the pressure, because it's going to swallow up your blooms or your cells or your swipes as soon as you do them. Because what you can't see is that canvas dipping down. You've actually got that much pillow on there compared to what you think you can see on the surface. A little bit different with the hard timber boards. You can go for a really large circle of pillow, because it's gonna tend to flatten out to the right depth before you start painting. Canvases, which is why I say, look, don't go over a certain size with the canvas, is you really can't control how much pillow is actually going to be on there. Now I forgot what I was even answering. Is that completely different to the question? Okay. The question is, are we meant to avoid semi-gloss pillow paints? Look, I'm not completely down with the satin semi-gloss. We call it low sheen, and I think that is eggshell or satin. And yeah, you're probably right. Semi-gloss is probably wrong. It's probably too glossy. Probably just came out with that term without thinking about it. But yeah, check the files in the files section. But yeah, I am pretty sure. I'm pretty sure it's satin or eggshell that everybody loves. That is more the substitute for the low sheen. Well, they call it low sheen. Low sheen to me would mean not flat, but just the one above the flat paint. Here we've only really got three. We've got gloss, low sheen, and flat ceiling. There's really only three to choose from. You guys have four, so it makes it a little bit hard, but one of the two in the middle probably would be better, the eggshell or the satin. This color place is satin, and I feel like it's definitely on point as far as consistency goes. I'm not even sure if it would be glossier or less glossy than the low sheen. I'd have to take that into an actual paint testing person and ask them for the answer on that. But yeah, I'm getting some more pillow, and I'm going to be adding all sorts of stuff to it. Whether or not it's even a pillow that you get over there, I'm going to find a pillow that doesn't work, and I'm going to make it work. And then I'm going to tell you how I made it work. Promise. Yes. Okay, guys. So I managed to get through almost all the questions this time. It's been lovely touching base with you all again. I thank you so much after such a big night you've probably all had. Yeah, thanks for taking the time out to come and watch. And yeah, it's a really good idea to clock on and log on when it's happening, because then you can get your questions in, and you know, there's a good chance I might actually be able to demonstrate it physically for you rather than just answering it in the text. But yeah, so don't forget, if you came in halfway through, you can always flip back and watch the whole lot later. Lots of information now coming through with the pillows. So yeah, come back through and read through, guys. There's going to be lots of backwards and forwards info in this thread about the pillow. And whatever we learn this time, I'll definitely touch on in the next one, so that anything I didn't get to demonstrate this time that was really important, yeah, we'll do it next time. Okay, I've lost one of my pods and my phone's about to die, and yes, I've got to go, but I won't make this farewell one of my 10 to 15 minute big smoochy loving can't stop talking farewells. I'll just make it a quick one. And I just wanted to say a quick hi to all the newbies. We've got lots and lots of new members. Welcome, guys. Don't forget there's other BloomLives that you can replay back. And yeah, don't forget to set your alarms for the next one in 2 weeks' time. And we're going to be talking about coating your paintings in resin. So that'll be fairly in-depth, but I'll try to keep it easy for you guys that haven't used resin before. Just to teach you, yeah, the tips and tricks. I do a few different things to other people with the resin that I found are really, really cool shortcuts and things to know when you're using it. So yeah, don't forget to tune back in for that one. I will save this video and pop it into the group. And thanks for all the love, guys, and the comments and everything and all the questions. And yeah, I just hope that we can get everybody blooming together and yeah, I'm gonna go before I just need like a zip my lips up. Yeah, so thanks for watching me blow today, and hopefully we won't have another one as awkward as this, but yeah, I'm definitely not going to be watching this one back. Nope, not going to happen. Too awkward. All right, guys, till next time, love yous lots. Bye. Love you. Bye.